Morning, gamer. What's going on? It's Ray K hanging out with you guys on this Monday, April the 10th. Hope you guys had a great weekend. We get some news directly from the Coalition. We can get over there to their Twitter page. Announcement from the Coalition says they're moving from the Unreal Engine 4 to the Unreal Engine 5. They had, Gears of War was on Unreal Engine 4. Gears of War Tactics was also on Unreal Engine 4. I mean, they use it great. DLC that's still going on. They still got Operations 7 and 8 coming out, and they also announced later down in the Twitter post that they're going to be working on two other. They didn't say specifically how many, but they said other non-Gears of War games that they're working with. Of course, they're working with to bring out the Halo. Some of the people on the Coalition have been put over to that team because Microsoft is all one big team now of sharing utilities and people from other sources now. It's all Microsoft Studios. So the Coalition. Good stuff. I mean, sad to hear that we're going to stop getting Operations and DLC for Gears 4. Or is it Gears 5? Yeah, Gears. I'm sorry, I said Gears 4. That we're going to stop getting Operations and DLC for Gears 5, and they're going to start working on Gears 6. But good that we're going to be getting Gears, but other games too. So they also said in the post that since they're moving from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5, that to not be expecting a game for a couple of years. So we probably won't be getting a Gears 6 anytime soon. We're definitely probably not going to be getting a Gears 6 next year or the year after. It's probably going to be 2 to 3 years, according to the Coalition, before we get our next big title from them. And the other Xbox news, we got a lot of Xbox news centric today. Xbox is just in the news. We got a leak on Starfield. Starfield got a couple of leaks, actually. It was some art that got leaked out, but the basic is that they tracked it back to the actual company, and Bethesda actually did the leak came from. So we're expecting Starfield. They said it would be coming out 2021. The pandemic hit and everything, but Bethesda games are really good at hitting those marks. We think that we'll see a E3 reveal of Starfield. And if we get an E3 reveal of Starfield, we know it's coming out in the next 5 months because that's kind of how they do. They did it with Elder Scrolls. They've done it with the Doom games. They reveal the trailer and a release date with it, which is kind of nice. So hopefully that tradition continues. We'll figure out if Starfield is going to be multi-plat or just on the Xbox, since Microsoft bought Bethesda games for like a bajillion dollars. So what we do know is that the game is real. They're starting to leak some info, which means that people are talking. We're probably going to get some trailers or something like that. More info on Starfield, the better, in my opinion. More Xbox news. Xbox just keeps rolling today. I mean, I wouldn't actually say this is Xbox news, but it will be. So we got the Mass Effect Legendary Edition coming out, and it's Mass Effect. Besides, it's my favorite non-fighting game. Not platform, but games that you can play. Like I love Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. I was a hardcore Xbox fan back in the day, so it was exclusive for a while, the first Mass Effect. The Legendary Edition is coming out. I haven't actually played the games. I even like 3. A lot of people don't like 3 for the ending. I actually didn't care. The ending that they had was the one that I chose anyway, so maybe that's why. But I do understand people back in the day, I mean, this game is like 10 years old at this point, that were very upset that none of their choices really seemed to matter at the end, but they went back, they changed it. And this is going to be gorgeous, man. It's like 14. It's going to be 1440 and 4K, 60 to 120 frames, depending on where you play it. And that's kind of where the story starts, right? So Mass Effect Legendary Edition will be available on Xbox Series X, PS4, PS5, and the Xbox One, right? But the PS5 users and the Xbox users have a different, it's different. It's going to be different. So check this out, right? As you can see right here, PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One are both getting their 30 frames, 1080p upgrades, which is how the game actually came out when it ran. It wasn't a solid 30 frames, but it probably, close to it. Of course, if you're going to be playing on those original systems, you're going to get a better boost because the games came out on the 360 era, so we're going to be getting a more rock-solid 30 frames per second. As you can see right here, PlayStation 5, up to 60 frames per second, 4K, which is the big thing about next gen. Next gen, the games don't really look that much better yet, but the frames per second and the vision and the how the game plays and plays while in 4K is kind of like the big thing with next gen, right? So we can see right here, PlayStation 5, we have up to 60 frames per second and 4K if you got the TV to support that. But the Xbox Series X and Series S has 30 frames per second, up to 60 to 120 frames per second, which the PlayStation 4 and 5 sadly cannot do. Now, the PS5, like it says down there, it can get up to 60 frames per second. And the 4K and 1440p. 1440p and 4K, my eyes don't see a big difference. So it's good that we can get 60 frames, but Mass Effect, if you've never played it, it's kind of a cover-based shooter, kind of like the beginnings of what a cover-based shooter could be, actually. Being able to play that at a higher frame rate is going to be nuts. The fact that I'm going to actually be able to play it at 1440p, 120 frames per second, it's pretty good. Now, in 4K, you're going to be able to play it at 60 with 60 frames per second in 4K, but 120 frames per second, damn near 4K is pretty good. It kind of looks bad on PlayStation a little bit. They can't achieve the same thing with their older hardware because unlike the PS3 era, they're both working with 880 x86 hardware. So a little feather in the cap of all the Xbox Series X and Series S. I still can't find one, but I'm pretty sure whatever platform you play it on, you're going to enjoy it, especially if you've never played it before. But if you've never played it before and you definitely didn't play it on PC, it looks like the place to play the Mass Effect Legendary Edition is going to be the Xbox Series X and S with 1440p, 120 frames per second.